Like there was monsters attacking the city.
Mhm.
Now he could probably dispatch all the monsters by himself, completely. Probably could. Definitely if he wanted, if he didn't care about destroying the surrounding area, he could probably use his meteor strike that he's been
That's what
holding.
I was thinking. The
And
immediate
just be
thing would
like,
be like, "Yep,
I'm done.
dead."
Dead. Just all of them dead.
Next show we're gonna be talking about is Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody.
Yes. I enjoy this anime. I think they're doing a really good job on taking an overpowered character and not having him be too overpowered. I mean, he's definitely overpowered. You know he's gonna solve whatever crisis or whatever thing's coming up, but he doesn't like. Okay, say for instance, like cell phone in another world, a cell phone. Like he was bluntly obvious with everything he was doing. He was like, I don't care who knows. I don't care. I'm gonna be like, look, I'm the greatest. I can do all this stuff. Ha ha ha, kind of thing. Whatever, I'll do it. You know. This guy though, he's like, there was an instance where there was this huge, like there was monsters attacking the city.
Mhm.
Now he could probably dispatch all the monsters by himself, completely. Probably could. Definitely if he wanted, if he didn't care about destroying the surrounding area, he could probably use his meteor strike that he's been
That's what I
holding.
was thinking. The immediate
just be
thing would be like, "Yep,
I'm done.
dead."
Dead. Just all of them dead. But he organized all the people around him and said, all right, I want you to do this. You guard over here. You take out whoever's coming this way. You do this. And then off to the one side, he was kind of like monitoring things. And occasionally he had like pebbles in his hand. And he would like flick the pebbles at the monsters and the monsters would die. But no one would see this. You just see it. Like a pebble come out of nowhere, or just like it was so fast you didn't even see anything, and just the monster would die, and everyone's like, "All right, whatever," and they just carried on, you know.
Oh, so he didn't like cover it like somebody hit it
No,
and then it died.
no. He's just they were flying creatures that were coming in, so some of them were getting
Okay.
by the shield that surrounded the city, but some of them weren't. Some of them were able to get through, and
I thought he was like giving them like good morale. Like somebody would come out with like this little bitty sword and be like, "Eh," and then it dies. He's like, "Look, I did it." And he's like, "Yay, you did it! Good job."
now, actually, the people around him are pretty good. They're actually able to hold their own and do some things and whatnot. But it's funny because like he'll the one which if you see her the one to his immediate left, I would say silver hair, but they're both like the one to his right has silver hair too. But like the one to his immediate left, sitting next to him there on that picture, she is also from another world.
Oh.
But like he got transported. She got resurrected. So she died in her world and then resurrected as got born into this world.
Okay.
But she still retained her memories and actually was had more abilities than your average person because of it.
Uh-huh.
So he's finding people that are like that, which is also cool. But she is constantly amazed because, like, he'll be like, she kind of knows he has a good amount of strength and battle prowess, but he'll do things like, at one point, he started doing alchemy because while riding through, there was somebody, a lord or somebody who took advantage of a farmer, and like he hit him and broke, and like didn't break but like sprained a bone or something like that, and so he gave him one of their health potions and it healed him back up and he was perfectly fine. But of course they were like, oh my god, it's so expensive, we don't, we can't take this. He's like, just take it, because he's got tons, he doesn't really care. He's like, just take it. But then the girl was like, we do kind of make sure we need some of those for ourselves, right? And he's thinking about it, he's like, oh, maybe I should look into alchemy, alchemy, to be able to actually do stuff like that. So next thing you know, when they're camping the next time, he's got this little table out and he's actually crafting potions, putting things together and stuff like that. And she's like, wow, okay. And then at one point, he's like, you know what? I should probably look into maybe later on magical items. So like that night when everyone else went to sleep, he starts crafting a magical item on his own. Okay. And the girl comes up and goes, how many skills do you have? He's just like, I'm just trying things out. I don't know how this is going to work, and he experiments, which is cool, because he's like, I don't know how this is going to work, this may work better than this, but then this might work better than this. So let me see how this works and do that. It's just it's interesting. The characters are varied and interesting, and even though he like all the girls that are surrounding him on that wagon have like a connection to him and like him. It's the only one who he actually has, it seems like to me at least, a love interest in is the blonde girl that's in the front.
Okay.
That's the only one.
Mm-hmm.
The only one he's really shown more than just common affection for.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's just been nice and making sure that they got what they need and stuff like that. But the rest of them, are just like, he's like, all right, well, I'll help you, oh, you need clothes, you need food, sure, why not? And he has to constantly like keep track of that and just like make sure he's not showing too much. He's always like, I don't want to give away too much that, because he has like a fortune that he could potentially spend on all the money from that initial fight that happened, because he got gold items and everything from it. And even then he's not even telling the people that he's with everything, because at one point, in order to maintain a potion, you actually have to put them in a specific vessel that's actually designed for it. So there was a whole ordeal. He was trying to craft some. He was at a pottery place. They had him in the kiln, and some guys came by and pretty much were about to wreck the kiln. But what he did is he touched the kiln itself, because there was like a couple hundred bottles in there, and he ended up putting it into his item bag, essentially. Now, and there's this magical world, they do have item bags, but his works in a completely different way than your normal item bag. So, like, when someone puts an item into their item bag, the item will still deteriorate. And there's a limit to how much you could put in there. There's, like, you can only put, like, 8 items in there. His has no limit. And the minute you put an item in there, however you put it in there, when you take it out, that's how it's going to come back out. So, like, for one instance, like, someone had made something they were making some leftovers from the evening, and he was experimenting with that idea. So while everyone was asleep, he made something for everyone to eat and put it into his item carrying thing. And then in the morning, he took it out before everyone got up. And everyone's like, wow, you cooked breakfast, because it was still hot.
That's cool.
Hours and hours and hours in between, it was still just as hot as when he first made it.
Who needs a refrigerator where you can just have an item bag?
Exactly. But the item bag that typically most people have, the minute you put it in there, it is going to deteriorate. So it would have cooled off by then. Mm-hmm. So it's these little things like this. And then he found in this world, actually a what would have been like a Japanese gateway, because it had like those arches. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay, yeah.
But they were like huge arches, and they were all collapsed, and like they'd been collapsed for a long time. Mm-hmm. And he started having memories come back to it. So there's a lot of like backstory and things going on and whatnot. So at this point in the story, though, he is on his way back. The girl to the left is actually an elf. Mm-hmm. And she got kidnapped. So he's on his way back now to return her home. And that's pretty much where the story left off.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, it's only 12 episodes. They've done at this point. I know they're going to have another series come out, another season. I just don't know when. But I am kind of looking forward to it.
Okay, so they kind of put a button on that one and be like, okay, first course done and we'll be back later, or next week?
They literally they put a button on it. We're like, all right, we're done here. This is what happened. We're good. They're still traveling, but all the current predicaments that they were in are done. Okay. So we'll pick it back up next season, kind of thing. Cool. So this is definitely one, like, it's a little touch and go every now and then, but for the most part, I would recommend anyone who's interested in fantasy animes give this one a watch. I know a lot of people shy away from ones where you're like, oh, the character's so overpowered, but he doesn't flaunt it. He's very, because like I said before, like there's one point where he was in a dungeon. He got transported into a dungeon along with a whole bunch of other people, and there was a demon in there, and everyone was having a problem with. Well, he got knocked away kind of purposefully, because then when he came back, he had like a disguise on, and then he's like pulled out his sword and he was like, all right, now we're gonna fight. So that way no one knew it was him.
Yeah.
He was like, all right, this is how it's gonna happen. That way everyone doesn't think that I'm some hero or something like that. I'm gonna keep it. No one knows.
So like, whoosh, ah, my arm, ah. And then he comes back, ah.
Well, it was like, because they had found like was it a tunnel, but it was like a hole that connected all these other tunnels going down. So he purposely got knocked into that hole, and everyone was like, oh no, he fell! But they were too busy fighting. They didn't know that he had ended up catching himself later, like further down the way, putting on the disguise, and then bounced himself back up.
Nice.
Came back
That's
up and
cool.
was like, ha! Demon was like, hey, you can't defeat me. And then it's funny too, because they have things like, the more he does things, he has titles that he keeps acquiring.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And it's funny because when he gets these titles, the demon he was facing goes, well, you're not a hero. Well, he actually had the title of hero in his status quo. He just didn't have it equipped. So once he came back, he then equipped hero status, and then he took care of it. So, anyways, yes.
Okay.
Long story short, Death March, fantasy anime, highly recommend, even for those. I would give it a shot. I mean, I think anyone should really take a look at it because it's just kind of fun. And it kind of takes a lot of those tropes that people have about animes in that regards, and especially harem animes, which this one's kind of turning into, and kind of takes a lot of those things on its head.
Okay. Out of a lot of the other fantasy stuff that we've covered, this one seems to be a bit more interesting. So it'll be on the list.
To me, it's just more. It's more fun. It's not highly action oriented. It's just kind of fun.
Cool. All right.
I at least have to say, the two parts that threw me off completely and just made me just go, wait, what? And it took a completely different tone than the beginning of the first 3 episodes would have said to me. I mean, there was, like